Hey everybody, it's Rev from Into Gaming. Today, I want to take a look at trying to explain NetCull Distance in Unreal Engine. Um, this is netcode, it's networking, it's part of the replication system. It's part of Unreal Engine. It handles all the replication of data between server and client, client and server. Um, So, in a nutshell, what replication is when a value updates on an actor. Let's say for an example, a door. If the door opens, which it's going to apply on the server first, if the door opens, we want the server to replicate that new state. We want it to replicate it out to the players. But we don't necessarily need to replicate that state change to every player that's on the server. We need to know if it's relevant or not. So, for an example, if I open this door over here, this one way over there, if I replicate that door, or I open that door, if somebody's over on the other side of that uh, mountainscape, they don't need to know about the state of that door. It's not relevant to them. Um, if it was relevant at that distance, what would happen is all your packets would be slammed full of kind of useless information. I don't need to know that that door's open. It's not relevant to my current gameplay. So I'm having to update states and stuff on actors on my client for no reason. So you want to keep the replication of data very small and need to know and gameplay important. That's just netcode 101. So you don't want to saturate your network with a whole bunch of garbage information because you can only send so many packets. The packets can only be so big. And if you fill them with too much garbage, you start saturating the network. And what that ultimately comes down to is very important information that you really need to know about might not get sent in time. Um, so NetCull Distance is the first gateway of controlling what is actually relevant. And real quick here, I'm going to detach from this character. Right now, this character has a um, basically a hemisphere. You can see it's a hemisphere around him. That's the NetCull distance that's being applied, and it's currently set at 10 meters. It's a radius value, so 10 meters all in all directions, 360-degree around this player is his NetCull radius. If an actor's origin point, you can get an example here. See this point right here? That's the center of the actor. That it's its origin point. Every actor in a scene in a game has an origin point. It might be based off of scene component, but it has an origin point, and that's where the center point of a netcall distance is going to start from. That is the netcall distance origin point, so to speak. So if another actor is in range, it's so like if I my camera here was another actor, once I pass this threshold, and if my netcall distance is passing this actor's threshold, this guy right here is passing his threshold, we are now relevant. I'm relevant to it, it's relevant to me. So that's our first step. And then there's other checks and conditions that have to apply. But in general, that's what netcall or the replication starts off with. The netcall distance, let's use that first. And then if it passes this test first, if it's in range, then let's go. Is it relevant? Is it always relevant? Is it relevant for the owner only? What is its net dormancy set to? And all these other values, which I can probably show you real quick. Class simulations. Right here, we have all this replication data. Do we replicate movement? Is it net loaded on client? Net user, net use owner relevancy, and all these other values. And then there's advanced kind of stuff that we can get into. But these are basically the checks and balances. We're not coding anything into the replication system as developers. We can overhaul their system, but the replication system in Unreal Engine is pretty solid. It gives us what we need, and this is just in Blueprint, which is a visual scripting aspect of Unreal Engine. It's easier to prototype things in it to show you what's going on. But you get more access to the network system if you're the replication system, I should say, more access if you're in the C++ side of it, which is generally where everything goes. You prototype, then you translate to C++, and then you create a child class of the C++ class, and blah 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 blah. But generally, that's what we're dealing with today in this video. Is we're going to be looking at NetCull Distance and how it applies to everything. As far as replicated actor, break out of that. Any actor, for example, any actor that is dynamic in the aspect of it, it has data that changes on it. So let's actually look at a door. Let me play with it and look at a door. I open that door. All these doors, by the way, are network set up. They're completely multiplayer ready. I open that door. So that door is a replicated actor. Its state changed. The door state changed. It's not closed anymore. It's open inward. Now its state is closed. Now its state is open outward. So other players need to know this. They need to know the state of that door. And let me give you an example of that in a multiplayer setup. And we are playing in client, which gets a dedicated server for this. So we're going to do 2 new windows on this. And of course that one's going to go over there. Oh, my bad. Got to go from player starts. Alright. So, where's my other guy? There he is. So, there you can see the on players. The player character here, I've set its NetCull radius to 10 meters. So if we're not in range of each other, we don't know about each other, and boom, I spawned. So here's what I'm going to show you here. Boom, I open the door, and then I'm out of NetCull radius of that actor, the other player that's over here. I open the door. I'm going to go over this one, and I'm going to open this one. I'm going to take this elevator up, and I'm going to open up this door, and I'm going to come back outside, fall back down, and I'm going to run over here. And boom, here's another replicated actor, and I'm going to sit over here and kind of hide from them. So, boom. Okay. First off, the forklift does not exist in my world. It's not there anymore. The doors are all closed. I get close enough, boom, they're all replicated and updated because I entered their replication range, or their NetCull distance range. Oh crap, the elevator's up. I just got updated on that. Now I need to go up. I'm going to go out, and I'm going to close this freaking door. I'm going to come down. And here's where stuff's going to get real fun. Oh, there's a player there. I'm going to get over here. Okay, so we've seen some replication happen and so forth, and what's going on. So you should be starting to wrap your head around what's going on with the NetCull distance and its primary job. Now here's the other side of it. I'm going to pop back to this guy. Oh, I have a bad guy over there. I'm going to shoot. These are multiplayer projectiles, by the way. I'm going to shoot. Nothing's happened. I'm hitting the forklift. I'm out of the forklift's range. I'm out of the player's range. Is this going to work the way I want it to? Let's get the, no, I need to up some stuff real quick. We're going to take we're going to update that back up to 150 meters. That's the default. I'm going to play this again because I really need to show this aspect of things. See, our radiuses are huge, so he's always going to be pretty much relevant to me for the most part. I'm going to get on this side. And what just happened? Restart it. I tabbed to the wrong screen. Let's run it again. Get my guy over here. We'll put him right here. Control tab, not Alt tab. Alright, so the forklift lives on the server. It's there. It's always there on the server unless the server destroys it. So as I walk up, you see me now that we're in this green sphere. You can see a little bit. That is the NetCull distance of the forklift. It's pretty small. It's 10 meters. So as I back away from that forklift, I'm out of its radius. It's going to disappear in a second. Poof, it's gone. Okay, and you notice in the top of my screen, top left of my screen, it's telling me what's happening. On my side, on my client, that forklift does not exist anymore. It's gone. It's not there. So when I shoot, there's nothing on my local client to block. And the way I'm doing multiplayer projectiles in this system, the firing mechanism is we're doing a client fakie, so the client fires its own fakie projectile that does no damage. It's just for the visual effects of it. But the server fires its own to see whether or not there's going to be a hit. And it's for specific stuff like this, so you're actually getting true server-side projectiles on here. So on my client, I could technically hit. You see that? I'm hitting. But if you look on the other player's screen that's behind the forklift, look at his health. It's 100. And I'm hitting here. See that? You see where I'm hitting the little green sphere? Let's pull back out of range. And let's see. See where those hits are? They're hitting there. Let me do it like this. I'm going to hit there and then run around on this side. You're not going to hit this player because it's relevant to him. And it's relevant on the server, so this guy's health is not falling. Now if I come back around here, I just did 15 damage. I did another 15, another 15, another 15, another 15. And kill the player. So replication, NetCull distance, I mean, these are huge things to consider. And let's jump into something like Pubg. Pubg has a lot of replicated actors, every loot item that spawns in the game, that's a replicated actor. It works just like that forklift does. The server spawns them, and then when you come into relevancy on the server side, your authoritative proxy, let me explain this real quick. The player I'm running around with and jumping, that's the autonomous proxy. That's my controlled, I own it proxy. What the character on the right sees of me, that's a simulated proxy. The server has an authoritative proxy of this player. And it bases everything on the replication of what that authoritative proxy is doing and where it's at and so forth. So we get a little delay on things, so I have to get out of NetCull distance here on the server, which is running in this instance at 30 hertz, and give replication a chance to catch up, and then my client a chance to actually destroy, because destroying stuff is a bit of a performance hit. So the authoritative proxy's position on the server is what matters. But back to PUBG stuff. Loot on the ground, body crates, loot crates that parachute in, vehicle positions, destructible assets, door states, as you've seen earlier, door states, window states, a glass. All of those are replicated actors. Projectiles are replicated as well. So we're constantly loading and unloading things. So when I run through a compound that I haven't been to before, all these actors are starting to load in, and the server's sending me information about those actors. And if I need to spawn those actors into my game client, my game world, it's simulation. I'm literally at that point in time spawning them. As I walk away from them, I'm out of their NetCull distance range. They are no longer relevant to me. They're being destroyed, and which is another performance hit. And sometimes you'll see this as you're driving a buggy or something through maps, and you run past a large compound like Yaz, or try to drive through Yaz, and you get some major hitches and stuttering and so forth. Player characters are the same way, because we all have different skins on, we all have different weapons attached, and the weapon information that's on them. And players, spawning players and so forth, that's kind of a heavy deal, because they're large classes. There's a lot of information in there, and we're dealing with a lot of skeletal mesh components, and skeletal meshes, the mesh of the character. Let me go and show you this real quick. The mesh here is actually a skeletal mesh, and in games where you can change skins and so forth, the mesh is broken up into components. You have the upper arm, lower arm, hands, the neck and head, and then you have different parts of the torso is a different piece, and thigh, calf, foot, they're all different pieces, and sometimes it's foot up to calf, this is a different piece. So all these pieces are jumbled together into a merge mesh or other things, and then generated, which it's kind of a heavy deal. So yeah, when you're playing games, you don't have everything on the map loaded all the damn time. So as you move through large maps like in PUBG, Warzone, Apex, and some of the larger games, Battlefield, you're not loading everything that's in the map and keeping it loaded all the time. You can't. You don't have enough memory. A map like Erangel, just the map, none of the other asset stuff, just the map itself is probably sits around 16 gigs, maybe 12 to 16 gigabytes, and you can't load all that into memory, unless you have a beast. And then you got all the other dynamic assets, the vehicles and so forth. Then you have to have a certain amount of memory to actually handle all the calculations of movement and so forth. So anyway, straying off topic, but anyway, hopefully you'll understand what NetCull Distance is by this point. You see what's going on in the world. I want to show you guys something else real quick. Been messing around with some new door systems. These new door systems and these elevator systems only replicate one piece of data, just their state across the network. So we're not replicating the actual movement. And I want to show you this real quick. See how both clients have moved up the elevator at the same time. It's very smooth. This is proper networking. Anyway, hope this was informative. If you have any questions on this stuff, don't be afraid to ask. Just post away. Thanks for watching.